Well, we went back out and then we brought the torch in and put them down. And then Mom, she went took her stuff to her house, put her stuff away.
Okay.
And of course, me and Summer went back over, put our stuff away. And then we were just doing normal stuff around the house like we normally do. And I come out, Mom was sitting there at the time. I come out and I'm standing here. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you staring at? She's like, these plants, I gotta get them transplanted. I was like, well, Summer will help us, so I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with her toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with her toys at that time. I said, Summer, you want to help plant flowers? And she jumped up, left her toys a mess. We transplanted these cactuses from the little pots that they were in. We transplanted these ones here into this bigger pot and that one into that bigger pot. And then she took the rocks that we've gotten from different gem mines when we went up to Gatlinburg and stuff.
Okay.
And she's the one that spreaded all the rocks around in here. And then she put her puppies in here. She wanted Chase in there, you know.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. Also thank you to all of the new viewers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and please like the video as well and share if you can. I keep going back to the timeline for the Summerwells case, and specifically I'm thinking more and more about the thing that we do know. At this point we know that the first 911 call was made at 6:26 p.m. We know that Donald Wells said that he was at work in Jonesboro when he made the call, and we know that he told Candus to hang up and call 911 and that she was at home at that time. She was at Ben Hill Road. So now, either way, one of the two of them made the first call. Now let's say, for example, if it was Don. He said that he made the 911 call, and after that he quickly grabbed whatever he could of his tools and he threw them into his vehicle, and then he left.
Well, they say, you know, it's really strange because I thought it was 5:30, but the 911 call says 6:30, 6:26 is when the first call come in. And that could well be. Sometimes I work till sunset, you know. A lot of times I have been here lately, but I thought it was 5:30.
So in that case, that means that at 6:26 he would do that, and then after that, let's say a couple minutes later, let's say 5 minutes, he would then take the time to get his tools, and then he would leave work. So did someone see him at work at 6:26? Did anyone see him leave? And so now if it took him, for example, let's say it took him 35 minutes to get home. I'm guessing that it wouldn't be quicker than that, but he said that it took him about 30 minutes, and he says maybe even faster. Now, I took a look at the map on Google, and there's a couple of different routes from Jonesboro, and I'm not sure exactly where he was working in Jonesboro, but it says that he could be there as quickly as 35 minutes. Okay? There's another route that's about 45 minutes, but once again, I don't know which part of Jonesboro he was in, whether he was further away. But anyway, so now back to this whole thing. So if the call happened at 6:26, then he couldn't have been home any sooner than, for example, 7 or maybe 7:15. Now, if that is the case, then he says that there was no one there. He says he was the first one there to arrive. And no one else was there. He beat everyone to Ben Hill Road. He made it there first. So, okay, 7 o'clock, maybe 7:15. So we're supposed to understand that, or if this is true, that there is no one there, and he's the first one there. So when did this whole thing happen? Because what I understood was that there was a search team there, that everyone came and they were all searching. Now, I recall that one of the news people had said that it happened at 7. Okay, but then we found out that no, it was earlier. Don himself had some kind of a confusion. He thought that it was about 5:30, but then he realizes that, in fact, he didn't make the call until 6:26.
Well, sir, I was at work, and my wife called me, and I said, hang up for me and call 911 right now. And I was at work, and I called 911, threw all my tools that I could in the vehicle, and from Jonesboro, I made it out here before anybody.
That is when the 911 call, the first call, that is when the first 911 call is reported or recorded. And of course they have the exact time. Now, then there's Candus. So Dawn is the one that tells her to hang up and call 911. And at that time, she is at home. And her side of the story is that she calls 911, and whatever she tells them, we don't get to hear that. We haven't heard the actual, their voices. We haven't heard Candus or Dawn making those calls. But so her call is either 6:26 or after, or thereabout, sometime close to that. And so she says that she does that, but then she doesn't want to wait around. So she leaves in the vehicle. She says that she throws her phone into Dawn's vehicle, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that she uses her mother's phone. She uses Grandma Candus's phone, which has the AT&T service, to make the 911 call. And then she leaves because she doesn't want to just stand around. She leaves, driving around looking for Summer. And she says that she doesn't see anyone. She didn't see any, let's say, for example, an offender. She doesn't see anyone taking off. She doesn't see anyone suspicious. Okay, so now we have the boys, I suppose, are still there. Grandma is still there in this scenario. And Candus and Dawn are not, at this point, at Ben Hill Road. But now, the thing is that, from what I know, when that 911 call is made, especially in a case like this, that they would arrive very quickly. I think it's 6 or 7 minutes. But I think we have to make some allowances because this is a very rural location. It could be quite far away from where the police are, whether they're driving around or where exactly they're stationed at that time. So let's say they arrive there maybe 15 minutes later. So that would be from 6:26, 10 minutes would be 6:36, and then add another 5 minutes, that's 6:41. So let's say 6:45, okay? So, but the thing is, we don't know. We don't know when they arrived. But I'm just not understanding, how is it that Dawn was there first? How could it be that he got there before the police? So that is the thing I'm wondering. So when did the police get there? They know when they got there. If they got there at, let's say, 6:45, at 6:50, at 6:55, how can it be that Dawn was there first? This is the part that really, I think we really need to know, and hopefully they will release this information, but it just doesn't fit in. Now, as far as what we do know from the story that Candus told, we have to go back to that thing where she says it was 2 minutes. So 2 minutes after she helped her mother with her knee. I suppose maybe she put a band-aid on or something on her mother's knee. And it was 2 minutes after that that Summer went missing. So this is not, this is not at 6:30 in the evening, because basically they got home after 3. And the way that Candus is telling the story, there wasn't much that happened before her mother needed help with her knee. Now, I keep going back to that 911 call. So Don said at first that he thought that it was 5:30, that he was at work, and that he thought that's when it happened. But later, he had to come to the realization, or he had to admit the fact that it was 6:26 when that call was made. So was he actually, is it true? Is it true that he was at work at 6:26? The thing that I keep thinking about is now that whole story, the whole report, the police scanner said that the mother had gone for a walk.
Keeping around from 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now. Keeping around from 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
So that might just be, maybe it was just kind of an excuse. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Could be that maybe the mom, maybe Candus, had maybe fallen asleep and something happened. Maybe Candus was, doing something which she wasn't aware. She didn't have the awareness of her daughter. She wasn't watching Summer. She was predisposed with something else, for example. Okay? So I don't want to accuse her of what exactly it was, but for some reason, Candus, the mom, wasn't aware of what was going on with Summer. Okay, so basically, the thing is that I'm thinking is that Candus will come to at some point. She will be awake, and she will then realize that her daughter is missing. And that is when she becomes frantic, and she then calls 911. But she doesn't realize what's really happened. She doesn't know who took Summer, possibly. It could be true that she had planted the flowers, maybe not. But it's possible that maybe Candus wasn't aware of what happened. That is one possibility. So it was kind of something that Don had said that I took note of. He said that Candus never does anything during the day. She doesn't drink when she's going to be driving, and she doesn't smoke when she's going to be driving. She is more likely that she will do that in the evening, and then she's out for the night. But she never does that during the day. That was one of the specific things that Donald Wells said. But I'm thinking, what if this is not true? What if she has more of a relaxed habit? Because they're up there, they're up north there, and they're living more of a relaxed lifestyle as far as having a timetable. And so possibly after she arrived home, she kind of had whatever. Maybe she had one of those twisted teas, or maybe another alcoholic beverage, and maybe something else, because we heard that she'd had something in her system, and Don himself kind of threw her under the bus, saying that she did have, that the police said that she came back, then she did have something in her system. So what if she had done that early on in the day, and she had lost awareness of time, of Summer and of what was going on. So this kind of leaves the door open for many things to happen. And this does make Candus out to be negligent. So, you know, this would make her look bad in that way, that she wasn't really aware, that she wasn't supervising Summer. And she does try in her story to really show herself as watching Candus very closely. And everyone has kind of remarked on the part where she says she walked her to the door and she watched her go in, and you know, she's trying to really show how careful that she was. And maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. But from the habits that we know that they have, then it's possible that maybe she'd fallen asleep. Maybe she'd had a drink, maybe she'd fallen asleep, and she doesn't know what happened. That is one possibility. Then we have Donald. Supposedly he was in Jonesboro working, but he doesn't remember what time either. And he says that he thought it was 5:30, and then he realizes that no, the call was at 6:26. And so that puts him at home very late, after 7. The earliest, I would say maybe 10 after 7. So do any of you know when exactly did the search start at Ben Hill Road? When did they shut down or close off the street? When did the police arrive? That is a very important piece of information, because it's going to help to show the storyline or the timeline as far as where everyone is at what time. So if Don arrived home at about 5:30, that changes everything, because that would mean that he would first be at home and then the 911 calls would happen. And that makes everything quite a bit different. So another thing which you have to admit is really strange is the part about Summer in the car, that she was cold, because specifically they say how hot it was that day. And that is the reason why they went over to Warriors Park for a swim. They say, so we were like, well, instead of sitting here in the car where it's hot, it was baking hot, we'll just go to Warriors and let Summer swim for a little while. Like I said, we weren't even planning on going swimming or fishing or anything, Candus said. So they weren't planning on going. I don't know. It's just, what were they planning though? This is the thing that doesn't make sense. So they decide to go because it's hot. So then why was Summer wearing all of those clothing? Why was she wearing long pants? She had a shirt and a jacket. Why would she be so cold if that was such a hot day? And if you check on Google, it says on June 15th in Rogersville, Tennessee specifically, and that day was a Tuesday, it says that that day it was 26 degrees. 26 degrees. And the previous day, on the Monday, it was 31 degrees. Now, it was a warm day. So why is it that she was dressed? They're complaining about the heat in the car, and they decide that they're going to go swimming because of that heat. They say it was baking hot. Okay, I'm reading an article here from ROGERSVILLE.com article. It's the Rogersville Review. And specifically, they said that it was baking hot. Okay? So, why is it that Summer is cold? They said that was her personality, that she was always cold. So then why, if she's always cold, then why put her in the water? Why get her to go swimming? So that doesn't really make sense, but supposedly she did go swimming. And they have that video of her, and H is there with her. When Summer stands up in the water, you can see that it's about waist deep. That's what it looks like in the video. but Candus said that Summer did not go under. She says that it didn't happen. Candus says that the boy lied on everything that happened. That's what she said. She said that there was no rocks there. She didn't slide on the rocks and fall into the water. And she wasn't under the water for 20 seconds like he said. That was a bunch of lies that he made up. So I keep trying to figure out, you know, what reason would H have for lying? Why would he make up these stories to lie? You know, why even, for example, why would his mother tell him to, for example, make up those stories? You know, why would they want to say that this happened to Summer if it's not true? So another thing, so now if she has the windows closed and they are in the car and it gets hot, was Summer left in the car in a hot car, and maybe H left her in there for a little while? Maybe she, you know, fell asleep in the car, and at that time when it happened, there was no one in there. For example, let's say Candus went in to get the groceries, and Summer was in the vehicle with H, and she was looking at the phone and just, you know, browsing and looking at whatever, and H decides that he's going to get out of the vehicle just for a little while to maybe have a smoke or something, and he leaves Summer in there with all of the windows shut, and it's very hot, and maybe she falls asleep at that point. Then everyone gets back into the vehicle, you know, they have the groceries, and Summer is there looking like she's asleep, and H gets back in, and they then drop H off at home, and that is when Allison comes out and she sees Summer sleeping, and she wants to wake her up, but she never does, and she regrets that. But maybe Summer is not in fact sleeping. It's that she's passed out because she has been left in a hot vehicle. And the complaining about saying that she's always cold, they closed the windows, that was their mistake because it was a very hot day. And maybe it was too hot. You know, maybe they shouldn't have closed the windows. That's another possibility. So by the time they get home, they might realize that, you know, she in fact wasn't sleeping, and they can't wake her up anymore. They realize they can't wake her up. She's not waking up. So they get home, and grandmother sees this, and this is the accident scenario. So then Candus at this point would call Dawn, and they would have to figure out what to do. So that is another possibility because it was a hot day. Now another thing, you might have noticed, and people have been talking about this, now with those flowers that were planted with the gravel, the white gravel, you would see that there's like not only the cactus or the succulent plants, whatever those are there, there's also like some weeds that are there. And that seemed odd because it was like, okay, so if you guys planted these flowers, you did this all nice here, and you put the gravel, and all of a sudden a weed has popped up, you know, why would there be a weed there? And the gravel is, you know, around the weed as well. So I don't know if those are weeds, but like I said, even another channel, I can't remember right now which one it was, but yeah, another channel had even noticed that the weeds are there. So why are there weeds? You know, these things might have been done days before, and they are now saying that the flowers were planted then. but maybe not. So now back to the whole thing of the report that Candus, that the mother had gone for a walk. So maybe that is true. Maybe she did go for a walk. Maybe she went to meet someone. And in that case, she wasn't watching Summer. Maybe grandmother was tired and she just wanted to lay down. She wanted to get off her knee and relax a little bit. That makes sense. And she had asked Summer to go in the house. In that case, Summer was still alive. And in which, then what I'm saying is that basically Candus wasn't there. So Candus doesn't know in this scenario again that I'm thinking of now, Candus doesn't know what happened. So possibly Candus does think that this is an abduction, or that she just doesn't know for sure what happened. So there's another big question. We have grandmother, she split the scene. She's gone. We have Donald and we have Candus. These are the last two standing. Okay? All the boys are gone. Summer was the first one. She disappeared. So now, are these two on the same page? Is Candus on the same page or on the same team as Donald? Or does she suspect him? Or does Dawn suspect Candus? Now, from what I can understand, it looks like because Dawn has been doing so much talking, and it doesn't seem like he suspects Candus, and he has supported her. As far as being suspicious of her, he hasn't said anything that would hint towards that. But Candus, on the other hand, she is more, it seems like she's more in the dark. She doesn't have the details. The whole story of the red car comes up. She doesn't know anything about that. That is also Dawn who knows about that. Then there's the situation with the door that Candus doesn't know if it was locked, but Donald confirms that it was locked. So, they are not, they have some facts which are different. And if Dawn wasn't there, why is he the one that is giving the information? How can he be, he's not the one who is the expert on what happened. He wasn't there. So my guess is that basically the grandmother, she could have maybe been in her camper. Maybe she didn't see exactly what was going on, but we really don't know. We can't really accuse anyone. We can't go around making accusations. But at the same time, we kind of have to look at the timeline and the scenario and the story that they've given and try to figure out, what is really going on here. Another thing that they specify is that she did the rocks herself. She went into Grandma's after we were done. She asked Grandma for a piece of candy. Grandma gave her a piece of candy. She told me she wanted to go back over with her brothers. So I literally walked her halfway between the camper and the house. That is what Candus said. So Grandma gave her, she asked Grandma for a piece of candy. That is a specific detail, and the story, they do have some specifics, but then it makes you wonder, because unfortunately, I heard of the substances which Candus had in her system. That has been reported. And it makes me wonder if maybe Summer by mistake got a hold of something like a hard candy, but it wasn't a candy. And by mistake, she ingested that thing, and that is the accident. That could be what happened. But They refer to a hard piece of candy. She gave her a piece of candy. So that is another thing which is kind of odd. When Candus walks Summer to the door, she says, I watched her go to the door. I could see her brothers at the kitchen table when she went in. I walked over and yelled at the boys. I said, watch Summer. I'll be right back. I've got to fix Mom's knee brace. I was standing right there at the camper. I was over there fixing it. Literally, you can see my mom's house. You can see my house from the camper door. She did not walk back out that front door. So you can see the house from her mom's camper. Candus estimated it took maybe 2 to 5 minutes to fix her mom's brace. So basically, they're saying that this happened, in 2 minutes. She disappeared in 2 minutes. How can it happen that, she would have gone, that means that Summer would have went straight downstairs and this whole thing happened immediately. And within 2 minutes, there was no sign of any person. There was no sound. She was there. She could see the house. And it's like they're trying to give us an impossible scenario. So she's trying to make herself out to be perfect, that she only let 2 minutes go by without seeing Summer. At the same time, it's like it would have to be, for example, a magician that would be able to make Summer vanish in like 2 minutes. She says, then when I got done, I came back in. I asked the boys, where's your sister? And they said, she went downstairs to play with her toys, Mom. I said, okay. And I went and I hollered down the steps. I always holler for them down there. And she didn't holler back. I said, are you sure she's down there? They said, yeah, she just went down there. Now guys, there's 3 boys that know the truth. Those 3 boys know if Summer went down there. The question is, was someone else down there? And what time was it? If they arrived back home after 3, let's say they arrived at 3 or at 3:15, and they put away the groceries, they planted the flowers, she helped her mom with the knee brace. Let's say that is maybe 4 o'clock, maybe 4:15. Who else could have been down there? Was there another family member who was down there, who was outside of the door there, who pulled up without Candus realizing? Had Candus had something to drink or something else, and that she is not aware of the truth of what's going on?
I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't recall that.
Okay.
But I know, it's hard on me. But I know when I did come out here, I said, Summer. Because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play just for,
And so, why did they wait until 6:26 to make the 911 call? Because I can't see it being that late, that that much time would have gone by. That's at least 2 hours or more, 2.5 hours at least. And so she says, so I went down there and I searched, I looked everywhere. Then I went through the house and I kept calling for her, yelling for her, everything. I came out here outside yelling for her, everything else. And she was nowhere. She was nowhere. So I called Dawn because I was freaking out. So she says she was yelling for her everything else, and she was nowhere. Alright, so I went down there and I searched, I looked everywhere. Then I went through the house, I kept calling for her, yelling for her. Don, Summer's father, was installing drywall at a job site in Jonesboro. I said, I can't find Summer. Get home now, Candus recalled. He was like, call 911. So I dropped my phone because I had to run over and get Mom's phone and dial 911 because her AT&T phone is the only one that works out here to call 911. So I called them and I told them what's going on. Before the cops even came out, I went down and told my neighbors, Summer is missing. Will you help me look, just in case she didn't wander off? But I knew in the back of my mind, she's never wandered off. She never went nowhere without me. She'll ask me to do something before she even goes and does it. And she's scared to go in the woods herself because we've told her time and time again, because of the bears and snakes, Candus said. So, before the cops came out, she told her neighbors that Summer's missing. So they would have been looking before the cops. But then Don said that he got there before anyone. So I'm not sure if that doesn't make sense. Let me know what you guys think so far. If you've noticed anything odd. I sent the older boys down through the creek. If they've got a walkie-talkie and their buck knife, they can go down through there. I sent all them searching, and I went in my mom's truck, and I went all the way down by the church, then went all the way down the other way, and I didn't see nobody, even out and about, Candus said. So that's pretty fast, because if someone was in a vehicle, what she's saying is that she had gone and quite quickly and told her neighbors, and she went out in her own vehicle and she didn't see anyone. Then I went all the way back in the holler as far as the truck can go, and I didn't see nothing back in there either. When I was coming back up of the holler, the cops were coming up in my driveway, so I just followed them up here. I don't recall if Don was here before the police got here or if he was here at the same time they showed up. Okay, that is strange. I don't recall if Don was here before the police got here. How could she not recall? Or if he was here at the same time they showed up. Well, he said that he was there before them. So, we searched everywhere we could possibly search. They were out here for 3 or 4 days straight, searching 5,000 square acres. They searched all this mountain terrain all the way down through here. They busted into my shed down there and destroyed it, she said. What really gets me is when they were searching for her, why didn't they make the neighbors let them go in their sheds and buildings and stuff? Why didn't they make them unlock it? Some people were like, no, you can't search my property. Why would you do that? There's a missing kid. Why would you not let them search? It just don't make no sense, said Candus. And we grew frustrated at times with the searchers. Well, that is kind of hard to believe. What do you guys make of that? Because, I mean, didn't they say that they had to actually search every one of those buildings, and that they were very dangerous, and that some of them had, like, you know, on the inside the floor was broken and rotted out and stuff? And so I heard that they were searching, but she's saying that no, that they were locked, and that is one of the complaints that she has. Then she says, they looked in every vehicle I had, underneath every vehicle I had. They opened that tote right there, and all it's got in it is a bunch of crafts and stuff. You couldn't even fit nobody in that if you wanted to. They opened that like 7 times. They even went so small to look into my mom's sewer tank of her camper. That hole's like an inch diameter circle. Candus gestured with her thumb and index finger. How did you get that 4-foot baby in that hole? She said. Candus said she thought the police canines would have had better success if she had been notified to corral the family's 8 dogs. Okay, so she's she has quite a few complaints about the search. She says they just done some stupid underhand stuff. When they brought the cadaver dogs up, why didn't they warn me ahead of time to find a place for these dogs to go? They just brought them up. Oh, you got dogs? You guys already knew I had dogs. That didn't pan out because you've got these 8 adult dogs waiting to smell all these new dogs you just brought up on my property. So that's going to mess up the cadaver dogs because it's not going to know which way to go, Candus said. I think she's wrong, you guys. So what do you think about this? So she's saying that because of her dogs, the cadaver dogs won't know which way to go. But from what I know, that the cadaver dogs are trained, they will ignore the scent of the dogs. And they are going to be looking for, the scent of summer. Or they will be searching for the scent of a cadaver, for example. So that, I'm not sure. Maybe she's worried about that, but I think that she's wrong. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, then it says, Summer's mother also expressed frustration with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. TBI kept questioning me. They asked me the same thing, wanting me to run through my whole timeline of my day. They did that like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, you guys still don't get it. If I was going to lie, I would have to think about it. It just comes out. I don't have to sit here and think about what I did. I know what I did. I just spit it out to you 20,000 times, Candus said. A liar has to think up something. I passed my polygraph test, and everybody is like, oh, you failed. No, I didn't fail. The first time I did it, they couldn't really do it with me because they threw me in the back of the squad car like I did something wrong and hauled me up there. I was already distressed over Summer being missing, and then they did that to me. So that just made more fuel to the fire and made me more upset. So by the time I got there, I was crying and shaking and just couldn't do it, Candus said. Okay, so that part there, we know now that basically they couldn't give her the test because she had actually some kind of substance in her system. And I don't know if she had been drinking at that point. Then it goes on to say, so they told me they'll give me a few days to calm down and get some sleep and stay off your phone because that's the worst thing you can do is be on your phone. And so I did that. And then I passed. It's not like I failed anything. People are like, oh, she failed. No, I didn't fail. Now here it says, the only people that had to do it were me, Donnie, and Mom. All 3 of us passed. They took the boys to a different place, someplace over by Greenville somewhere. A child advocate or something like that talked to the boys. The boys pretty much told them exactly what I told them. And I didn't even talk to the boys, Candus said. Okay, so she's saying that she didn't even talk to them, but we won't ever know that because there was some hours in between before anyone arrived, before that 911 call. And then it says all the boys had to recall was Summer coming in the house and going downstairs. Now the thing is that maybe it's true that she went downstairs. You know, so the boys will then say, you know, yes, it's true. We saw Summer go downstairs. And that could be the last true thing, that she went down there, and that Candus doesn't know anything after that, that she doesn't know what happened, and that there's some family member that, you know, that took over after that point. And that now Candus basically doesn't know. She might have suspicions of what happened, and we have suspicions of what happened, but that could be another possibility. She then says that because they got so hooked on watching YouTube, they watched Minecraft videos on YouTube. I'm like, don't you guys ever get bored with that, Candus said. So it could be that they weren't aware of what happened. You know, the three of them are inside. They're having a lot of fun watching their Minecraft videos. You know, they're absorbed in whatever was going on. And they don't know. They might not know what really happened. Then she says here, I tried to get them to go check out this guy who was trying to camp out here and try to take over my neighbor's property. They were like, oh yeah, we checked him out. It's like they don't even really care if they find her or not. That's what it seems to be, because we're poor, I guess. I guess if we had lots of money, they'd do better work, I guess. That's the way it looks like. She says, I don't know, for some reason TBI don't believe that she was abducted, Candus said. That's what don't make sense to me, because she's not here. She don't just disappear, I mean. I've seen movies where people just start vanishing off Earth, but, you know, they're so fake. But somebody had to have taken her. That's the only conclusion I could come to. As far as the dogs, Candus says if they were good watchdogs, she says, hell no. They're lazy. Anybody that came up here that could have took her could have fed the dogs down there, the lower part of the yard. These dogs are so friendly and love everybody. They don't know strangers. Okay, so I guess that means nobody's a stranger for them. And then it says here, indeed, contrary to expectations, the dogs greeted this reporter like a known friend and hardly barked during the hour plus on the property. Then at the end here it says, I don't believe anyone anymore. I've gotten to the point where I can't trust nobody, because everybody I talk to either twists my words around or they do something. They put out more lies, and it's making it worse and harder on TBI to even find her, Candus said, adding that the stress is affecting her 3 sons as well. Well, I'm sure it is. They're the ones that are suffering through this whole kind of like a circus or roller coaster, whatever. Then this goes on to say here, I won't let these boys outside if I'm not out here. I try to take them out of here so they can get their mind off it. In the summer, that's all that I do with the kids, because it's summertime. They're not at school. So here's a chance, when they're not at school, they get to enjoy themselves. When we go, I smile for the kids, but I'm not having no fun. I'll get in the water with them, but that don't mean I'm having fun, Candus said, of the constant knowledge that Summer is missing. If you look at the pictures, she was always smiling. They're always happy kids. I mean, they'll get into fights because that's what brothers do, but other than that, they're always happy no matter what they're doing. Wyatt tells me, Mom, I feel like if I would have went downstairs and played with Summer when she asked, she'd still be here. I said, you can't blame yourself, son. I said, nobody knows what the next day is going to hold. So this one brother is saying that she asked for him to go down. He says, if I would have went downstairs and played with Summer when she asked, she'd still be here. So, I mean, that's another point. So if that is true, that she asked one of the brothers to go downstairs, you know, if that is true, then she did make it down there. So that's another thing. Then it says here, they smiled to put on a good show. But other than that, I know they're really upset. They ask me every day, is Summer coming home today? I can't answer that. I don't know. I find myself sitting out here until midnight or 1 o'clock at night, just hoping, maybe, that whoever took her or whatever happened, she'll come wandering back up the driveway to us, Candus said. So guys, let me know what you think about that. I know that things have gotten really crazy with this whole phone call, this hoax thing that happened. And it just makes them look very, I mean, suspicious. It makes them look very immature. I mean, how could two parents, two worried parents, you know, that are dealing with a situation like this, how could they do a hoax, you know? That phone call that she's pretending that all this stuff is going on with Dawn, you know, and it was quite convincing, but I think she overdid it. At the same time, you know, she was possibly, I heard that they'd both been drinking. That was one of the reports. And, you know, it does sound like that, you know, because she's not talking very clearly. But, you know, how could they be doing that kind of prank at a time like this? So that makes them look, I mean, people will, instead of focusing on this horrible situation of a missing 5-year-old of Summer, it's now more looking at the circus, you know, the sideshow, which is going on. And as far as like a whole possible abduction thing, there's no mention of that. There is no, I mean, law enforcement has not alerted the community to be on the lookout, and that whole possibility, that scenario is not being highlighted at all. And instead, it's becoming more and more, you know, the Candus and Dawn show. It's becoming more about Dawn's past, and I guess that people are trying to kind of associate that and all of Dawn's troubles, that is linked to the reason why Summer is no longer around. That is, you know, that's all that we can kind of, I guess you have to put 2 and 2 together. But if only law enforcement would come out and, you know, do another conference, you know, talk about what they know, and maybe give out some more information, some factual timeline, maybe even just what time did they show up there, whatever, you know, even though of course, you know, they don't have to tell us anything, but it's just getting to be now. It's to the point where it's just like a freak show, you know? So I know that supposedly one of the stories is that they had done that Dawn and Candus, one of them had come up with this idea that Dawn had been either arrested or that the cartel was after him. And they came up with this supposedly because they wanted to get maybe sympathy from the sister-in-law, from Mary, and from the other one, because they were going to have that Dawn will be charged. And maybe they were trying to get some sympathy from them. Maybe that was the whole reason that they were doing this. I don't think that it was very bright. I don't see how that would have worked, so I don't quite understand the logic behind it, the reasoning. You know, how did they figure that out? you know, because it just doesn't make sense. You know, is that going to stop the in-laws from pressing charges? You know, pulling a prank like this, is that going to make them change their mind? I doubt that. You know, I think it's been like 40 years that the one sister has been suffering with this issue, with this, maybe not a secret, but, you know, with that bit of information that she's held on to about what happened. And now she is basically, you know, they're going to press charges. And so I don't see how they came up with this scheme, with this hoax. I mean, if that is the way that their minds work, if that is the way that logic, the way that they put, let's say, 2 and 2 together to come up with an idea, then, I mean, it's not very bright. I don't quite, I mean, maybe you guys can see it as a plan or as an idea, or they had a bright idea, but it looks pretty crazy. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And now, you know, everyone is looking at them, you know, they just don't have any more credibility. So maybe they might come out and try and clear the air, maybe do an interview with someone and explain, maybe an apology, I don't know. But anyways, so let me know what you guys think about that. For me, it's the issue of the 911 call, the time of that call, which is 6:26, and the time when Don arrives. You know, he says that he was there very quickly, but I think it's at least 30 minutes. So, you know, he would be there by about 7. And how can it be that there was no one there, that he was the first one? So I just think that that's very important to find out about that part there. And Candus herself says that she doesn't know if he was there, and that's kind of odd as well. So anyways, so let me know what you guys think about it. And if you have anything which, I mean, if you happen to have come across some verified fact as far as when the police arrived, if you can put that in the comments section. And I look forward to reading all of your guys' ideas, and hopefully there will be some news very soon. So please share your thoughts in the comments section. Please subscribe, like the video, and share if you can. Thank you so much, and bye for now.